No, this isn't happening, this can't be happening. I wanna go home, I wanna go home. Kartak's plea for help was interrupted by a flash of silver from the tree line, and he spoke no more. When Jurgen turned around, he found the remaining half of the steel rod that held the link embedded into Kartak's throat. One tip had been sharpened, and the rod had been launched with unparalleled speed and precision, piercing the flesh from one side to the other. Jurgen could do nothing but stare his coworker in the eyes, who stared right back, a desperate gaze pleading for help that could not arrive. He tried to cry out for aid, but nothing came out except for a gurgling as the researcher drowned in his own blood. The color of his eyes faded and he fell backwards, dead before hitting the ground. Jurgen ran. He ran for his life, he ran because of his fear, he could think of nothing but running, but he didn't make it very far. He ran some 10 meters before stepping on a suspicious pile of leaves, and confusion overran him as he felt nothing but the strong thug on his ankle, and found himself upside down, a meter high, another trap. The rock that had claimed Arkish's life never arrived. Instead, Jurgen got a front row upside-down view of Valor, the remaining scientist, standing alone frozen in fear in the middle of the clearing. It was then that with a scream to chill souls, a pale blur raced down from the tree line. Valor turned around but didn't have time to raise his rifle before the blur came crashing down on top of him. Shock and disbelief filled Jurgen's mind as he realized that the creature, the one who had hunted them down so mercilessly, was not a Barligan, not even a Balrag. It was the frail creature from 2 days ago. The one Jurgen had given up for dead. The one who seemed ready to die of weakness at any second. Only now could Jurgen see what he couldn't see before. The creature had no furs, but an unbelievably thick mesh of muscles laid below its skin, shaping the body and granting it disproportionate strength. It lacked fangs or claws, but it had adapted Arakan's combat knife to its own physiology, and was now driving it into Valor's chest over and over again, its mouth open in a battle cry that crushed Jurgen's soul. Slashes and cuts permeated its skin, obviously from conflicts with other beasts in the dome, but despite having suffered wounds that would send any sentient species into shock death, it still held strong and lethal. And watch was all that Jurgen could do, as the creature drove the knife into Valor's chest over and over and over, and then, with a victory cry, drove his fist into the chest cavity, grabbed his friend's heart, and ripped it free from the now lifeless husk. But something changed when the creature turned his head to his last remaining prey, him. For his face was not full of animal rage, but with a cruel grin, and it was then that Jurgen realized the project had been a success. The predator hadn't attacked them out of need, hunger, or in self-defense. It was anger, cruelty and bloodlust that drove such a methodical killer. Behind those wide-open bloodshot eyes didn't lie a beast. It laid a predator, a fully sentient one, and all of rational capabilities, all of its intellect, merged with a primal brutish strength and geared towards killing, towards hunting, and towards brutality. It had defeated 2 whole squads of trained soldiers, both by raw strength and by cunning. It sought blood and pain. It was the apex of predators. And so, Jurgen realized the folly of the whole project. Such a predator would never be controlled. It would never bend to anyone's wishes. If dropped into an enemy planet, it would sooner peacefully request a ship from the locals and assault its masters, rather than obeying to their will. It would spit on death's face and keep pushing, seeking its vengeance with a bloodbath, or die trying. The creature approached, that devilishly amused grin never leaving its face, even as it licked the bloody dagger without breaking eye contact. And then it spoke. Jurgen's cranial implants translated the message immediately. This was the definitive proof. It could speak, and his words were not very different from its actions. You fellas should fight more, or run more. It's only fun if you run. The hunt is no fun if you just die," said the creature, while chewing on what appeared to be a piece of green tree bark. One of your friends fought a lot. Even cut me here. I killed him quickly as a reward. Another one ran a lot. I ran after him just to see for how long he could run. Not too long, turns out. I think that he'd killed him. Looked rather charred. But even so, he was polite enough to show his friends the way, wouldn't you agree? Haha. The creature was now a yard away, staring closely into his eyes. Jurgen couldn't even utter a word, his body completely froze, his thumping heart urging him to flee. That link by the door was very neat. I forced one of your mates to translate it for me. Then I gutted him and smashed the thing, turned the metal into a weapon. I knew you would come after the sensors. You see, I was very angry when I figured out you were the ones messing with the weather. 40 degrees, followed by 0 degrees, wasn't it? I almost got the flu. And you see, I do bad things when I get angry. Really naughty things. Now, of course I could let you go free to tell your friends, just like I could have let your friends go. But alas, unfortunately for you and your kind. The human drove the combat dagger into his own mouth, stabbing the green piece of bark and pulling it out. It was then that, to his horror, Jurgen realized that that wasn't tree bark, but flesh. Rotten flesh. You guys taste an awful lot like chicken. Author's name and the link to original text is in the description.